Welcome to a new episode of Terra Rossa podcast. Today I have an incredible guest. I am so happy to have this guest. His name is Vincenzo Santopadre. I'm sure a lot of you already know who he is. And hi, Vincenzo. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Gianluca. Hi, everybody. Thanks for this beautiful presentation and thanks for inviting me to Terra Rossa podcast.
Thanks, Vincenzo. So I'll just give a brief background of you. Vincenzo Santopadre, most of you will know him as a coach, but he was a tennis player a few years ago. He was a professional player, ranked, I think, around 100 ATP in the world in singles. After that, he became a coach, a very important and top quality coach. Most of you will remember him as being the coach of Matteo Berrettini, who you've worked with, I think, from 2011 to 2023. And in that period, Berrettini got to number 6 in the world and also to a Wimbledon final. Vincenzo also has worked with the Italian Tennis Federation, helping them with coaching, education, and also with other team activities. And you have coached also other players, Flavio Cipolla, and also Luca Van Assche. I don't know if I say that correctly, but Luca Van Assche. And currently he is coaching Lorenzo Sonego, who all of you will know, a very good Italian player. And Vincenzo was telling me that he's right now in Cincinnati with Lorenzo, who will be playing the main draw. So I hope I said everything more or less correct there.
Yeah, everything was perfect.
Was perfect.
It's a lot of years that I'm involved in this passion, in this game, in this job.
Okay. The main reason I wanted to speak to Vincenzo is because a lot of people and a lot of people ask me, but also on TV when you watch a match or in general, the media ask, why has Italian tennis become so good? Why is it so successful? What was the reason behind this boom in the recent years? And one of the first people I thought to approach was Vincenzo, because probably better than any other person, he has a huge experience. He obviously has coached and played, but coached before the boom of Italian tennis. And now he is in the mix and coaching while the boom is happening, while Italian tennis is having so much success. So I can't think of anybody more appropriate or better to ask these questions about Italian tennis and its boom. So before going into more detail, I'll ask the obvious question, Vincenzo. So if you have to summarize, what are the main reasons of this boom in recent years and this success in Italian tennis?
Yeah, it's correct when you mention there are reasons. There is not only one reason, to me, according to me, because of this boom. And is it true that I lived, unfortunately, the previous years as player and then as coach that weren't so beautiful. But according to me, when you achieve this kind of results, like for so many players, it means that there is something before that you did really well, hopefully, because results are not coming by day. You have to work a lot of years. You have to, in a certain way, to change a system to achieve that kind of results. So if I have to say one reason, there isn't one reason. There is, to me, mainly two reasons. People is doing maybe the job in a certain way, in a certain quality. The second reason is that something has changed. It means for me that right now people that are involved in tennis, especially coaches, but then we have to remember that in the end, players they go on court, so they have to be good players. Otherwise, if you have a good coach and you are not a good player, you will never become a good player. But I think the quality and the number, also the quantity of people that wants to improve, to be better, like as coach, as teacher, also teaching tennis from the school, are right now they are more, and they have more quality than previously. And then The other thing is that the system that the Italian Tennis Federation decided to change was, to me, was really correct. Previously, maybe not everybody knows that previously, in 20 years ago, when there was like a guy junior that was playing good, was had an interest from an Italian Tennis Federation. The federation was trying to catch this guy from their club, from their coaches, to go into the National Tennis Center, and then the federation was providing him the staff, traveling in the tournaments. But then they changed the system. They decided to keep the players together with their coaches with their coaches, with their fees, and the federation was trying to help in a certain way, with some consulences, with some services, and that's the first part. The second part is that the federation has increased unbelievable in number of quantity of tournaments for people that wants to try this kind of career. I'm talking about futures and challengers. Having so many futures and challengers, especially for the way that now it makes sense to achieve points, to achieve into the ranking, because it's really difficult. And once you get into the ATP ranking, it's much easier. But right now, if you are an Italian player, you have so many chances, so many tournaments. Also, not forgetting the economic part that is really important, and then you can spend less money playing at the beginning in Italy. Federation is helping also with giving some money to players to provide their activity, to provide their expenses for coaches and traveling. And then, of course, what happened that there were some players before, because the history doesn't have to be. We have to always to remember the history, no? And we know that there were in Italian Tennis Federation there were Volandri, Sarace, and then there was Fognini, Seppi, and Fognini, and that years they weren't unbelievable years for the movement of it, but there were some very good players. And then when Fognini was the first one to win 1,000 in Monte Carlo, to break into the top 10, then there was Cecchinato that did semifinal in Paris. And then after that, I think that this kind of results were the first that helped the other players to believe, okay, maybe I can do it. They are similar to me. And then I think Matteo was really good to be to give an example also to the other players, younger players, and to make very good results. And then Lorenzo Sonego, that is 1 year older than Matteo, they grew up together, and then they stimulate each other. I think the very good thing is that there was the change of the system of the federation. One, the quality and the quantity of the coaches and teachers. With the federation, I put into this basket also the tournaments and everything. And the last, not least, the most important thing is that the players started to have results, and everybody was helping each other. And it means that the movement was growing about quantity, because I think if you just see the number one in the world, maybe it can be just if there is only one player, like for example, happened in some. Switzerland had Federer and Wawrinka, but if you see like the top 20 male players, they were not so good. But right now in Italy, we can talk about a system. We can talk about an incredible era.
Because like a movement, era. No, very interesting. I suspected it had to do with this. I've got a few notes here as well, but one thing, just going back to the Italian Federation, I think this was what you mentioned. is one important thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that the Italian Federation a while ago used to boss coaches around, so tell them what to do, and they weren't really supporting them. And then the change happened when they started to leave them a bit alone on their own and started to support them in different ways, maybe a bit more financially and stuff like that. When did you see this change? When did this happen?
I think it happened like in the last 10 years mostly. I remember I was together with Matteo Berrettini, he was junior. Right now he turned 30. And when he was so, we are talking about 12 years ago, they already started to change the system. So it took like around 10 years before having results, because they started maybe 13 years ago, and since 3 years there are so many results. And again, I don't want to bother you, but there are so many players, and that's the reason that maybe a lot of people is interested in Italian tennis, not because only Yannick, because of
Yes.
every so many players.
Players, yes. The other thing about the Italian players, which I think a lot of people are curious, is if I have to make a parallel, and tell me if I am wrong, but if you take something like the Spanish system, let's be honest, the Spanish system, maybe for the last, I don't know, 20 years, has been the most important, is one that has produced the most amount of people, the most successful. But their system was basically many all the academies in Spain are very good, and but they all kind of teach in the same way, or most of them do. They teach the clay court, Spanish style movement, footwork, and blah blah blah, all these things. In Italy, the movement or every player is very different to each other, so there is not really a style or a system. Is that because the federation decided to fund the local clubs and the coaches, and so everybody can do their own thing? Do you think that is the reason why the Italian players maybe are so different from each other?
I have to tell you that that's a brilliant question, and that's an unbelievable, very good point of view, and I really like it, because
Okay.
is it true that when there was the Armada, the Spanish the Spanish school, it's true that there was a system, but everybody was playing mostly the same kind of players, the same style. And to me, that kind of thing it works, can work. But if I am talking about myself, if I have to teach, I try to work mostly on attitude on court, but I have to understand what are the needed, what the player needs. We don't have to think that everybody has to play the same style, everybody has to do the same things, because we are different each other. Everybody is different from another. And I really like the fact that the Italian players are so different. I think that which also the Italian Tennis Federation changed a little bit his point of view from having giving such a big importance to technique, but you have to also to give the player the chance to have the players the chance to create, to have his own style. And according to this, then you try to see how, which are the skills that can help the player, but you don't have to put the player into something that is really closed. And that's why, for example, Sinner is playing different from Berrettini. Berrettini is different from Cobolli. And everybody has his own quality, his own personality on
Yes.
there. You have to work on this. Once the personality, once the person is different to another. So once you increase the person, you develop skills like person and like player, then it's easier to achieve better results to me.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. One other thing, I don't know if this one is important as well, but because you mentioned the amount of tournaments and the federation we talked about and the coaches, etc. Do you think the surface Now, I grew up in Italy. I mostly played on clay. I don't know how it is today, but I think it's still mostly clay, but also with a bit of hard court. Do you think the surface has a lot to do with it? Because when I look at, take for example, United States, North America, or Australia, they are mostly playing on hard court, or nearly all on hard court, very little clay. While in Europe is mostly clay and a little bit of hard court. I always feel that clay helps the development more. You have more time on the ball. It helps with the balance, with sliding. You have to construct the point. Maybe it also gives you a bit more of a mentality to fight for the point and grinder. So all these qualities are very good right now for the type of tennis that is being played. And it's easier also to transfer clay to hard court than to go from hard court to clay. So I don't know, do you think that the surface is also important part of the reason why Italian tennis is successful right now?
Yeah, I really think so because the surface, like as you mentioned, right now there are like you are in so many tournaments on our course. So in Italy, like you said, we are born on clay, mostly on clay, and right now there are more clay courts still, but they are increasing to build hard courts. And I think also that is it true that once you play on clay, you have to develop more skills, and then since the ball is not so fast when you are young, you don't need 100% to play on hard court. The best to me is to balance. Balance is a key word to me when you develop, because we know that tennis right now is mostly at high level, is serve plus one, return plus one. That's the key of the game. So also mentally with the attitude, when you are playing on hard court, you develop that mentality. So there is no problem if you are born on clay, but as soon as you have to develop a better mentality to be a big player, you have to play on hard court. I tell you one little story. When I used to coach Matteo, I remember that when he turned 19 and he was out of the juniors, he wanted to become a top player. He needed to develop a better attitude on hard courts. Needed to, especially on serve and return. And when he was 19, we scheduled his tournaments 66% on hard courts. That's not
Okay.
typical for an Italian because
Yeah.
normally Italians they are born on clay, they continue to play on clay, and then when it's late, probably they try to play on hard court. But you have
Yes.
to pay attention. And I tell you, 19 played 66% of tournaments on hard court, but also the previous years he was also practicing to understand that serve and return they had to be increased a lot to become a top player. To be a very good player, you have to be able to organize yourself no matter where. But in a high level, you have to be very competitive, especially on hard courts.
Basically, it's better to develop both, but you are
Yeah.
saying that you have to know how to play on hard court or have the mentality to play on hard court to reach a. Okay.
Yeah, because on hard court also you have to be aggressive. On clay, if you develop when you're junior, it's a mentality that is not the best that you are playing because when you are junior, it happen that you are winning because the opponent is losing. When you are
Yes.
when you become a professional, you can't wait that the
Yes.
other is giving you the match. You have to go to take the match. You have to try to win the match. You want to.
Yes.
It's completely different attitude.
Yeah. The other thing, you already mentioned it in your first answer, but I think is extremely important, is the fact that Italy has a huge amount of futures and challengers tournaments. And that is so important because obviously the cost of traveling is very cheap. You can stay within the country, which is not too big, and still get to a very high level of competition and also high ranking. For example, I live in South Africa, and South Africa is not like they don't have good players here. Everybody as a junior is very talented. But the problem they have here is that there are no tournaments, and with the exchange rate, if they have to fly and spend money overseas, it becomes very, very expensive. So the only route for somebody in South Africa is to go really to a college in America and try and get a scholarship and then become a professional if they want. But I think that, as you were saying, the importance of tournaments in Italy at that level is super important, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it helps us a lot because we know how expensive is tennis. Also, and then
Yeah.
the thing is that you are not sure that the money that you spend, they are coming back, and you can't consider just 1 year. Once you want to become a player, you have to make projects, long-term projects. So it costs really a lot. And then having money from federation, tournament from federation, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
And the other system, like you mentioned, I agree, is to try to the way of college, because I think can be an idea, of course, if you are not really well organized at home with your coach, with your physical trainer. That can be really a good idea, especially because with the passing of the years in colleges, they are increasing the attention that they give to tennis players. And it's not like when there was really difficult to become a player growing on colleges. Now also ATP has changed something to increase people and to let them understand that they can become players also playing for colleges.
Fantastic. So I think we have covered a lot, but I have few more questions. If Yannick Sinner didn't exist, if he didn't come along, do you think Italian tennis would be the same today? Do you think we'd still have all of these players, or maybe not?
We will have the same players according to me, but not the same like televisions, newspapers, communication. Of course, having number one in the world, it means that now everybody outside of Italy is talking about Sinner and Italy, of course, because he is Italian. And then of course in Italy everybody, also people that I didn't see any match about tennis since a couple of years ago. Now everybody can talk, can see tennis. I remember
E-
when,
Everyone's a coach now in Italy.
yeah. It has changed
Okay.
from
Yes,
soccer to tennis.
to tennis.
And
Yeah.
now it is true that everybody in Italy is crazy about for tennis. There are tennis schools are increasing so much. Everybody wants to play tennis. Parents know tennis and they watch the matches. And also people that was not interested in tennis now is involved.
Mm.
And then the fact is that every weekend there is an Italian player that is playing the last rounds of the tournament.
Oh, no, no.
Television also was a good idea to me, that had Italian Tennis Federation to open a new tennis channel on
Yes.
television, with television. I think it was a really good idea. And
Yeah.
of course, I think that there will be more people, more Italian players in in the future because of Sinner, but
Mm.
not now. The guy that we have now, also the youngs, they are not
Yeah.
because of Sinner, because they
Yes.
already played tennis. But the
For
guys
years. Yeah.
that in 10 years they will be players, they will be also a lot because of Sinner.
Or Sinner. Yeah. I don't know how you are involved with junior tennis in Italy, but do you already see an improvement at the junior level in Italy? Do you think they will keep on producing top players?
I really hope so. It's not so easy. I know that um, in a certain way we have to pay attention, because it can be dangerous. I mean that I don't want to say that it's not possible, but it's really difficult. And because once you achieve there, you have to have the mentality to become a player, but you have to know that it's really difficult. And otherwise, everybody is Sinner in the future. Everybody wants to be like Sinner, but we have to understand that is really special. So it's good that we will have probably very good players in the future, but I'm not so sure we can continue to have this unbelievable level. And it
Okay.
means that probably we are working also well, but sometimes, like I mentioned at the beginning, the quality of the player is the first thing.
The first thing. If you have to name one or two players in the juniors right now that you have seen, and I don't know if you can say, but that you think can maybe get to the top 10. Is there anybody that you have seen?
Yeah, at top 10, it's easier not to say any name
Yeah.
because I'll miss the bet if I bet. But of course, it's not junior. We know that there is China that is playing really good and is coming. Okay,
Okay.
a really good player. There are a couple of juniors that are not bad at all. There is this guy Basile that won
So,
his first ITF tournament, but other guys I don't know too well. So I don't
okay.
want to spend any name, but I think that everybody they have to have a dream to become top 10. They have to know that it's really difficult, but it's good. It's correct to have this dream and to work for it.
Okay. Interesting. I just want to go back to one thing I forgot to ask you here in my notes. On a coaching level, do you still work with the Italian Federation? And if you do, have you changed anything or added anything to the curriculum?
Actually, I used to teach to make some lessons for with the Institute of Formation for Coaches for Italian Tennis Federation. I used to make some lessons to the guys that wanted to achieve the to become tennis coaches. Since a couple of years, I'm not doing this anymore, but I'm still in very good contacts with the institute. We pass our information. We try to update each other. For example, Lorenzo Sonego, he has like a guy that is providing stats for us, and he works for federation. So it's an exchange that I have with federation. And the very good thing about federation that is now with the coaches is this. There is this exchange of information, even if you don't work directly for federation. You work together with federation.
Finally, Vincenzo, I looked on the internet and I didn't know this, but you are a head coach with also Stefano Cobolli of the Rome Tennis Academy. That must be a very special tennis club to be part of.
Actually, a good question. I used to work with Stefano Cobolli in a club in Circolo, Canottieri, Aniene, for a lot of years.
Famous club. Yeah.
Famous club.
Yeah.
There, where Matteo Berrettini was born, there was also Jacopo Berrettini. And we have plenty of guys that were growing, hoping to be players. They came to us maybe when they were a very good group when they were 12, 13. And then when they turned like 16, 17, in our club, we didn't have the chance to give them the things they needed to become a player. So together with Stefano, we thought about, okay, what can we do with these guys? Either we tell them to go somewhere else, to some academies, to find some coach, or we find a place where to give them the opportunity to grow. And we found a club close to Canottieri Aniene, and I'm always glad to Canottieri Aniene that gave me the opportunity to do this, because in a certain way, for some years, I was doing both. I was working for Canottieri Aniene and for the academy, but still I was really traveling a lot with Matteo, like a private coach. And then we built this academy to give these guys the chance to follow their dreams. And we wanted also, like coaches grew together with them. One important thing is that the coach has to grow together with the player. And then we built this academy. We ran it for some years, but in the end, there were some troubles and we stopped, because then right now Stefano is coaching his
Of
son.
course, yeah.
But it was nice because when we built this academy, there was Matteo that was rising so much. There was Jacopo Berrettini, there was Flavio Cobolli, and there was Matteo Gigante, that is
Yeah.
a really, really good player that was practicing in Rome Tennis Academy. But unfortunately, there was some troubles, and then in the end, we are not running anymore the academy.
Okay, I didn't know that, but it's a very interesting story, yeah, because it created a lot of good players out of that club and era. So just to finish, Vincenzo, I don't want to keep you too long. It's already, I think, 30 minutes. I like to keep it a bit short, but I usually finish with quick fire questions. All right. There it is. So favorite city in the world?
Rome. Too easy.
Okay. Too easy. Okay.
I always lived in Rome, and I'm coming from Rome, and Rome is my city.
There's a city. Okay. Favorite tournament?
Actually, I love Acapulco, for example, because
Okay.
it's like the atmosphere. It's really good, and I love also Melbourne.
Okay. Favorite food?
Of course, pasta. I love traditional Roman cuisine, like pasta matriciana, carbonara, and my dad, together with my uncles, they used to have to run a restaurant. So
Okay.
I really like it.
You must. My son is in Rome right now. You must tell me a good place for him to go and eat.
Right.
You can message me. Grass, clay, or hard court? Which one?
For who?
For
For my
you.
player? For me, actually, I was better on clay or hard, but I really enjoyed to play on grass. But I couldn't return well. But I had fun on grass because I never played there. Okay, I was playing, but not so much. But to answer your question, probably clay.
Clay. Okay. Out of the big three, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, who is your favorite?
Federer, Nadal. That's a tough question. Federer, Nadal, Djokovic.
You can only choose one.
I choose Federer.
Federer. Okay.
Yeah,
Best.
I prepare the style, high class.
Yeah, all the style. Yeah, of course. Best tennis experience for a tennis fan.
And the best experience is to go to Wimbledon and watch 2 days before the starting of the tournament. If you have a friend that is involved in tennis, is a coach or a player, you can go there a couple of days before the tournament. You can see behind the scenes players practicing. So that's, I think, something different from going to watch a tournament. But if you go to Wimbledon, because of the atmosphere and because of the thing that is really particular and different on watching a match.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. With all the players that you talk to and that you know in the tour, is there a player outside the top 30 that nobody wants to play against? Is there one player that they are like, I don't want to play against this one?
Right now,
Right now, yeah, right.
I think there are, like, for example, Moutet,
Okay,
because he's so different from the other players. So they are not used to play against him because first of all he's lefty, so they are less lefty normally, and then his style is different from the other players. So when they play Moutet, they are not used, so they get in trouble mentally too.
okay, yes, interesting. If you can steal one shot from any player in the history, which one would it be?
Roger Federer's serve.
There is a lot of talk about tennis changing its format. It's too long, there is too many injuries, blah, blah, blah. Do you think tennis should make games shorter, sets shorter, change its format? Also because it looks like a lot of young people are losing a bit of interest. What do you think about that?
I think that in the future, unfortunately, I have to tell this,
Yeah.
tennis will have to change, must change because of this, because of spectators, fans. Yeah, we need younger fan and to increase. It's a business, of course, we know, and to run it more. Of course, I think in the future the ATP should change something. Yeah, it's true. I don't like to change the shorter sets, but can be an idea with the double. Already they changed because they are
Yeah.
playing like Noed. They are playing a long tiebreak in the last set. So these are the first steps. The last step is to change completely the game, because once you play a shorter set, or once you decide to play just one serve, is to change. It means that you are changing the game, and we don't have to arrive to this.
To that. Talking about doubles, must we get rid of doubles?
This is very sensible, because I have a lot of friends that are involved in doubles. I know that is very nice specialties, and I think they are trying. ATP is trying to find a way to that these kind of players that right now are playing they will not lose their job. But I think I think they have to do something, because we know that when there is like a top 10 in single that is playing doubles, there are more spectators, more fans, and then still right now there are not so many doubles to watch on television. So I think the idea that they are having to also in US Open to make it shorter, to find a way that for the future, for long-term product, I think it's a good idea, the things that they are doing. Of course, I really I don't want to be sad for this kind of players, and I hope that this kind of system will be in long term, not in like in 2-3 years.
Okay. Long term, yeah. And if you weren't playing tennis or involved in tennis as a player or a coach, what would you be doing right now?
I loved soccer, because
Ah,
Italians, they love soccer. And
yeah.
my dad was a football player, and
Okay. Ah,
to play soccer when I was young. And then when I was 13, I decided to stop with soccer, but I really love it.
and Italy needs good soccer football people now. Yeah. Yeah. Last question, Vincenzo. Is there a question that I should have asked you, but I didn't? And how would you answer it?
I don't know if you asked me how are you, but I'm really fine.
You're right. Yes. I didn't ask you that at the beginning, but you look
Uh,
fine, so
uh,
that's why I didn't ask. No,
Yeah,
that's
but
great.
it's normal not to ask, but sometimes it's normal when you meet, not like we are doing right now, but if you meet a friend, the first question is how are you? But normally we are not giving this question the real sense.
It's
And
true.
normally everybody's answering very well, thanks. What about you? And it's normal. It's like a poesia.
Is a bit robotic, like a
Yeah,
robot.
very
Yeah, yeah,
robotic. Yeah.
yeah. I
I'd
agree.
love that less robotic.
Robotic. Anyway, it was a pleasure having you. I really, really enjoyed it. I think you have given some great insights, especially into Italian tennis, and it was a pleasure meeting you for the first time. And all the best, and all the best with Cincinnati, with Lorenzo, and I imagine after that the US Open. Yeah.
Thanks, Gianluca. It was a pleasure to have a talk with you. And I will send you the message for your son, for the restaurants in
For the
Rome.
trattoria. Yes. Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, Gianluca. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.